I live in an apartment building, and below we have a basement that is accessible to everybody that lives there. The apartments are big and luxurious, but the basement definitely could have been more secure. It experienced a lot of robberies. I knew that, so when I moved there, the first thing I did was reinforce my storage space and made it robber-proof. It was a nice day, so me and the boys decided to go on a skiing trip. I went to the basement to get my stuff, and we went on our way. After we finished skiing, we got a few beers, and I arrived home at around 2 a.m. When I got back to the basement, I noticed the main door was held open by a door stopper, but I didn't think much of it. I put the skis in my storage and started walking out. I got to the hallway and turned on the light. That is when I saw two men with masks carrying bikes. I froze. I didn't know what to do. They were standing between me and the only exit. I had no way to get out of there. We stared at each other for what felt like eternity. After some time, I heard one of the guys say, "Should we grab him?" The other guy nodded. They let go of all of their things and started sprinting towards me. In panic, I ran away but didn't know where to go. I decided my best bet is to go in my storage space and lock myself in. I ran there and started typing in the code to unlock the door. I managed to get the code right, but by then one of the guys has already grabbed me. With no fighting skills, I started kicking and punching everywhere. I managed to get him off me. I locked myself in and immediately wanted to call the police, but there was no service. I was stuck with no way to call for help. For a second, it was silent. Then I heard beeping on the keypad. They were trying combinations to get in. I tried screaming, but nobody heard me. They were trying to guess the code. I was so terrified. I shouted at them saying I called the police, but they just laughed. After about 30 minutes, they gave up on trying to get to me, but they didn't leave. I heard them breaking locks and stealing everybody's valuables like bikes, skis, and even some motorbikes. Luckily, I reinforced my storage space so they couldn't get to me, unless they got the code right. Eventually, they started trying the keypad again, guessing the code. They were calling me names and making fun of me, but I just sat there in silence, trying hard not to cry. I spent the night in that basement feeling terrorized. I didn't sleep and kept alert the whole night. In the morning, I went out and immediately notified the police. I told them everything and showed them the camera footage, but the robbers were never found. I don't know what they would have done to me if they got me, but luckily they never did. I don't go down there anymore.
Recently, I put some kitchen plates for sale on an online marketplace. About a week later, at around 10 p.m, I got a message from a buyer saying he is interested. We scheduled to meet the next morning. I have my plates stored in the basement so they don't take up space in my apartment. At around midnight, I decided to go clean them for the buyer. In our building, every apartment gets their own cubicle in the basement. It always felt safe. But obviously I was wrong. Once I got downstairs, I noticed the lock on my door has been broken. I got very upset. I knew my stuff must have gotten stolen. I called the landlord to come down and replace my lock, but he didn't pick up. I opened the door, but everything was still in there. I was pretty relieved, but couldn't make sense of why someone broke my lock and left everything. I took the big box with all of my plates inside to take in upstairs. I slowly lifted it, making sure I don't break anything. As soon as I moved the box, I saw a man hiding behind it. I screamed in fear and let go of the box, breaking all of my plates. It was an elderly man holding a knife. I tried running out, but he grabbed me and pulled me inside. He whispered in my ear, "Shut up and just let this happen." I had no idea what to do, so I did as he asked. After all, he was easily overpowering me. He tied me against the wall, took my phone, and started carrying out all of my valuable items. I was so scared I didn't try to do anything, and obeyed him. After my basement was almost empty, he tied my hands and said I was coming with him. He wasn't wearing a mask, so he knew if he let me go, I would go to the police to report him. As we were walking to the van, the street was completely empty. I couldn't ask anyone for help. I started trembling in fear. In hopes someone would hear me, I started screaming as loud as I could. He put his hand over my mouth and shoved me in his van. It was late, so I didn't see anyone who could have heard me. We started driving. While we were in the car, my eyes were covered, so I didn't know where we were going. The whole time he was telling me what he was going to do with me. I was sure that is how my story ends. I was terrified. After about 20 minutes of driving, I heard sirens. Someone must have heard me screaming while we were walking to his van and reported it to the police. It was pure luck. The guy was immediately arrested, and I was escorted back home. The call was anonymous, so until this day I don't know who saved my life. Whoever you are, I owe you my life.